This is the Audi Concept C, and it is essentially the new TT. Audi will tell you it isn't, but it is. Yep, the official car of hairdressers and men who think too much of themselves went out of production in late 2023, marking the end of a 25-year run spanning 3 generations. And the parallels between this concept and the first generation TT in particular are obvious when you look at the overall shape, but the details run much deeper than that. The overall design once again gleans inspiration from architecture. Probably, I don't know, I'm not a designer, Bauhaus or something. The folding metal roof was a solution pondered by Audi when conceptualising the original TT, and the rear of the car bears a resemblance to the Quattro Spider concept of 1991. The car that inspired Audi to come up with the TT in the first place, such was the positive reception that car received when it broke cover. The reception so far to the Concept C has been decidedly more mixed. I imagine partially because it also looks quite like the now infamous Jaguar Type 00 concept. But that shouldn't be a surprise, as in part it was designed by the same bloke. Massimo Frascella bravely choosing to join Audi just 1 month after resigning his post at Jaguar, rather than entering the witness protection scheme. Editor's note here, since I wrote that bit, the other man responsible for the Jaguar concept, Jerry McGovern, has just been fired. Don't think that bodes too well for Audi, considering the similarities between the two designs, but we'll have to see. And if you want to see my thoughts on that whole situation, check out the video I did on it, because it's probably not what you think. Anyway, on with the show. With the Concept C, Audi are keen to point out the links to their past, with the grille shape allegedly referencing the Auto Union Type C of the 30s, but I'll be honest, that isn't the face of 1930s Germany that springs to my mind first, if you catch my drift. But regardless, something looking almost identical to the Concept C will reach showrooms in 2027, and yes, that includes the lack of a rear window. And also yes, this new, not a TT, will be all electric. To be honest, I don't really see that as a problem though, as the TT was never a hardcore enthusiast car. Compared to the competition, they are always a bit wooden to drive. Its sporty looks belying the fact that under the skin, the TT was always essentially just a Golf. Over the TT's 3 generations, the handling was improved upon, but it could never quite beat the hairdresser car allegations. It was a triumph of style over substance, irrespective of what engine was under the bonnet, be it a diesel or a fire-breathing 5-cylinder. This new car may actually help shake that image though, despite the electrification. The single motor base model will be rear-wheel drive with a Quattro version to follow, and for the first time it will sit upon a dedicated sports car platform. This one shared with the upcoming Porsche Boxster and Cayman EVs. Besides, with not just the existing TT, but the R8 as well as both the A5 Coupe and convertible all now dead, this will be Audi's only offering in that mould, so it makes sense to broaden the car's remit somewhat. This isn't the first time Audi have tried to make the TT a more versatile product, however. Through multiple concepts over the years, Audi have experimented with the Titty formula, trying out various different shapes and sizes. Everything from a range of strange body styles, tuned up engines, and even a full-blown road racer. And here are some such examples. Look, okay, I'm just going to break the fourth wall here. The intro line I had for this car was, "What are you doing, Steppenwolf?" But I literally cannot say that with a straight face, so there you go. Despite sounding like what your weird friend would have read on Wattpad when they were 14, and also despite being a crossover, the Audi Steppenwolf is actually kind of cool. I think it's a testament to how good the styling of the Mark 1 TT was though, that it does translate so well onto this 3-door SUV. Granted, not having rear doors probably helps with that, but all the same, that adds to its retro charm, as does having the option of having a retractable roof. Audi wanted to make the TT more of an all-rounder, but unlike the cynical hatchback-based lifestyle vehicles of today, this one at least had some personality. It also had quattro all-wheel drive and a 6-speed manual gearbox for at least the illusion of some actual off-road ability too. And powering it all was the VW Group's trusty 3.2 litre VR6, 3 years before that engine would make it into any production TT. Quickly becoming aware of the TT's soft reputation, despite killing a few people, Quattro GmbH, otherwise known as Audi's RS division, got to work on this prototype that you see here. They faced countless engineering challenges, racked up over 12,000 miles in testing and development work, and the end result was a TT that could outrun a Porsche 911. But then they decided to hide the car from the public for 13 years. To the naked eye, it looks basically like any other Mark 1 TT, but in reality it has much more in common with this, the B5 generation RS4. That of course includes its 2.7 litre twin-turbo V6, tuned by Cosworth and kicking out 380 horsepower. Trouble was though, that engine didn't fit in the TT. So what Audi did instead was take not just the engine, but the entire platform, gearbox, differential, axles, brakes and wheels, and then shortened the RS4's floor pan by 7 inches so that they could plonk the TT's body back on top. Unsurprisingly, this was far too complicated a prospect for production, but they did certainly create one quick TT. Despite the car now weighing over 1600 kilograms, it could hit 60 miles an hour in 4.8 seconds and go on to 183 miles an hour. And the coolest part? Audi tested the car on public roads as you see it here, with no camouflage. And no one was any the wiser, a testament to just how clean of a job they'd done that it looked like any other TT. And this was in 2001, still 2 years before a production TT would eventually receive that V6 power. Also before everyone and their nan had a camera on their phone and camped in the bushes at the Nürburgring. Interestingly, this was the first taste Audi decided to give the world of this second generation TT that would launch a year later. And, body style aside, it was a pretty faithful representation of what the production car would end up looking like, with the new lights and trademark massive gob. Although it is especially striking here, with the vertical slats in the grille and no number plate to break things up. The mechanicals were all production ready too, with the concept being fully functional and once again using the VW Group's venerable 3.2 litre VR6 engine, of course mated to quattro all-wheel drive. Audi never intended to produce the car in this body style, but on account of it being a wagon of sorts, r/cars probably thinks that it's Audi's single biggest mistake and the harbinger of the TT's eventual demise. I'll have mine in brown if you're asking. From one wacky body style to another, this is the TT Club Sport Quattro, and this time we're looking at Audi's answer to a 911 Speedster, just obviously one that they were never brave enough to actually produce. The concept uses a tuned up version of the 2 litre turbocharged 4-cylinder from the Audi S3, making 300 horsepower and directed to all 4 paws via a 6-speed gearbox nicked from the R8. It sits on huge looking 20-inch wheels wrapped in the thinnest toupee of rubber imaginable, and behind those wheels you'll find carbon ceramic brakes. All very motorsport inspired, coupled with the bucket seats and racing harnesses. Although perhaps it was less safe than your average race car, as the roll hoops had been shortened compared to the regular TT convertible, just to make things interesting in a crash. If the low windscreen wasn't enough to ruin your hairdo, that would do the trick. I've heard skinheads are in style. Amazingly though, Audi did seriously consider a limited production run of this TT Speedster. The car was initially revealed at the 2006 Wörthersee meet, the annual pilgrimage for all VAG fans, and a year later they even showed an updated version of the concept. The new evolved version was a bit more sensible, but of course neither made production in the end. Meet Shelley. She'll be your stylist today. On the surface, this looks like a regular Audi TTS with some stickers slapped on it. And under the skin, a lot of the running gear is the same too. Quattro 4-wheel drive, S-tronic gearbox and the standard issue 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder up front, producing the same 270 horsepower. But out back where the boot used to be, you'll find a big old computer, because Shelley is the result of a collaboration between the VW Group and Stanford University, and was designed to drive itself. And that it did. Designed to develop the next generation of safety systems, the team started testing out the TT round a simple loop at relatively low speed, before taking it to Thunderhill Raceway in California, where the car would lap itself, reaching speeds of nearly 130 miles an hour, and getting very close to the lap times of a real race driver. Not content with that though, the team decided to enter Shelley into the fearsome Pikes Peak hill climb for 2010. That meant training the car's algorithms on how to get around each of the 156 turns that comprised the 12-mile run up the mountain. And there wouldn't be anyone inside to take charge if things went wrong. Although if they did, they'd at least have time to call their family at some point during the 14,000 foot descent. But alas, none of that happened. Shelley completed the course without a hitch, albeit at a fairly leisurely average speed of 45 miles an hour. In 2014, Audi launched the third generation TT, but throughout that year they also revealed no less than 4 concept cars that once again tried to broaden the church of the TT's appeal. First, Audi previewed the upcoming production car styling with a shooting brake concept. Sound familiar? But this time around it was a jacked up all-road version. Then came the TT Quattro Sport, with its crash diet and 420 horsepower squeezed out of the 2-litre Turbo 4. Cool, but the 5-cylinder in the eventual TT RS is just better. After that, they tried to SUV-ify the TT in order to add some more versatility. Sound familiar? With the off-road concept. Granted, it didn't look bad, but was essentially just a cynical niche filler between the Q3 and Q5 SUVs. But it's the final of the 4 that I am most interested in, the TT Sportback. A very nice looking saloon that, to me, looks better than the 3rd generation coupe that it's riffing off. I think that comes down to proportions. The Sportback is a foot longer, a little wider, but also lower than the production TT, meaning it wears Audi's very angular design language better, as it isn't being grafted onto such a round, blobby template. The final part of the TT's aesthetic merit for me though, is also the fact it was a bit of a sleeper. Using almost the same tuned up 2-litre 4 as the Quattro Sport, that meant 400 horsepower and a 0-60 time starting with a 3. Audi were open to making this concept and the reception was positive, but in the end none of the 4 mentioned in this section ever made it to market. I know which one I'm most sad about though. In 2015, the most powerful TT you could buy was the TTS, which made 306 horsepower. That made it plenty quick for most sane people. And in 2016, Audi would bring back the 5-cylinder engine for the TT RS, and that made almost 400 horsepower. But before that car, they revealed this, the TT Club Sport Turbo concept. It used that same 2.5 litre 5-cylinder engine, but tuned up to 600 metric horsepower. That's 592 for the rest of us. Most of that power came from a sodding great turbocharger, but there was some cleverness going on as it was an E-turbo, spinning up electronically and leaving you precious little time to adjust your quiff before being flung at the horizon. Audi claimed the E-turbo really helped the car launch off the line, firing this TT 6 meters further in the span of 2 seconds compared to the same car without the system. Fascinating. Maybe. Hard to argue with 0-60 in 3.6 seconds though, and that's despite it having a 6-speed manual gearbox. An open gated one at that. and a top speed of 193 miles an hour. Not bad for a Golf in a juicy tracksuit. Unfortunately, none of the E-Turbo, manual gearbox or massive widebody made production in the regular TT RS. Cowards. Although I do sort of get it, it may have embarrassed the R8 slightly, being almost as powerful as the V10 supercar and being a couple hundred kilos lighter, despite carrying around a 48-volt electrical system in the boot.
Hi, I've got an Audi TT.